Welcome back to Business AM. We are at the tail end of the show, and actually, this is the only time that Business AM ends the way it started. We started with children's rights and celebrating the international child. So everywhere you are, you gotta celebrate that kid. And we're going to know the meaning of celebrating your children today in a very special manner. Now, we started the show with Alice and Angel. For those who know, that is Abraham Muthogo's family. All right. Now, there's no better way, therefore, to celebrate the child if you don't get the mother's perspective. Kid, how better can we get now? Because, ladies and gentlemen, we do have Abraham Muthogo's wife in the studio today. And this morning, I'm not going to call him a wife. I'm just going to call her the mom for Alice and Angel, because that's the only way, therefore, that we can get to recognize Alice and Angel. Good. And I've got a message from you. It's going to start. I'm going to read it. This one comes from Abraham Muthogo. I'm reading it because I just want to represent the exact message. All right? Today, wait, was it? Good. Today, I want to tell you on Abraham's behalf, since we are celebrating the kids' lives today and the rights of the kids today, is that he loves you very much because he recognizes your contribution. You can start any better. That's me. I'm done with that message. Okay. Anyway, Rina, Karibu Sana Metropole TV, isn't it? All right. So I just want us to start from a very basic point. It's going to be 7 minutes that we've been given. I told you we only have 3 minutes left. Sure. Interesting. All right. So now, in what way, therefore, have you brought Alice and Angel up to recognize the things that they have to get and the things that they pretty much don't need? And have you brought them up in a way, therefore, that they appreciate what they already have? Yes.
If you ask me, I think the most important thing for a child,
yes,
for them to be able to learn and appreciate anything, is love.
Yes.
For as long as you don't show a child love, they will not be able to appreciate anything that you give it to them. So love, for me, comes first. You have to show them love, then from then, they can appreciate anything.
Yes.
Yes. So I think that is more important than anything. Because any human being, you included, who is loved, who is shown love, is able to portray that and give that to anyone.
Yes.
I think it's the only thing that can be given for free.
Yes.
And like we have said, education, the government has terribly failed us. As much as it's free, many children do not have access to that.
Yes.
And even the ones who have access to that free education are accessing it with very minimal facilities.
Yes.
So for me, I think I've brought up my children in a way that they know first and foremost, they need to love someone for them to be able to appreciate anything. They need love first is very most important. I love this pair of shoe I have to be able to take care of it. I don't ruin it so that 2-3 months later, I'm not asking for a new pair of shoe.
Yes.
So for me, I think love is the most important one.
Pretty much, isn't it?
Yes.
And this is going to be your last question there for this morning.
Yes.
What sort of environment would you love for Alice and Angel to grow in? Especially now they're kids and we recognize the fact that they're kids. Therefore, what environment? And I'm talking about this government. I'm talking about whatever it is that they may want to go. What sort of environment would you like for them to grow when it comes to the rights of the children now?
There's the first one.
Yes.
An environment where God should be loved.
Okay.
And everyone should recognize God.
Yes.
So for that reason, they all have to go to Sunday school. They all go to Sunday school. Actually, Alice is Angel's dance teacher in church.
Interesting.
So that's the
Yes.
first environment I have made sure I have brought them up in.
Yes.
The next one is to appreciate anyone. Don't take anyone for granted.
Yes.
Because if today in the morning I'd taken the house help for granted, we'd not be here because we wouldn't have clean clothes, we wouldn't have pressed clothes,
Yes.
we would not have had breakfast.
Yes.
I think it's very important, not just for children, but then again, we start from the foundation. The foundation is the children. To learn to appreciate everyone.
Yes.
Even that mkokoteni guy you see when you're driving in traffic, just appreciate him because he's woken up and told his family he's going to work. Okay? So you want to try and bully him on the road, it's someone who's working very hard to provide for his family.
Yes.
So we must appreciate practically everyone.
Yes.
The shoe shiner, you have to appreciate him. On your way to work, you step on mud. You can't come to the studio with dirty shoes. So it is important to appreciate everyone. I'm bringing them up in an environment where everyone is important. Practically everyone. Even the gate man, they call them watchmen. I don't know what's watchman, guard.
Soldier.
If he decides he won't open for you that gate, you will not enter.
Yes.
Okay? If he decides he won't let you go, Daddy has said you don't get out of this gate alone, he won't allow you to go out.
Yes.
So I'm bringing them up in an environment where they have to appreciate everyone, which I think is the key to everything. Because for me to appreciate taxpayers' money, I need first to appreciate that taxpayer. Somebody is paying that money has gone through a lot to be able to get that money to pay it. So why am I misusing taxpayers' money?
Pretty much.
Yeah, so it's basically, if you bring up all the children in an environment where you have to appreciate everything, you have to learn how to appreciate everything that is given to you, I think we'll have a fantastic world.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Rina, it couldn't get any better. Thank you
very
much for joining us this morning. Guess what? It's a good show today, and it doesn't stop there. We're going to take a short break, but once we come back, Daima Trust Executive Director is in the house, all right? So we take that break, Richie. Welcome back to now, officially, the last part of the show this morning. It's been eventful. Richie, we've taken a lot of breaks this morning, haven't we? But it's been for the good part of it, isn't it? And that because we are celebrating International Children's Day today. Now, if you do know, is that children also have rights. Is that every time we fight for rights, but when you take them down specifically to children, then the rights start to change. Because then you gotta look at them as children specifically. Good. Now, in the studio to talk about this and also talk about an event that is going to mark the celebration of the International Child is James Maina, is Daima Trust Executive Director. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Elijah.
It's a pleasure, man, to have you around here.
Thank you.
Just get somebody to understand. I think guys are calling. Fantastic. It's about Daima Trust. Anyway, I hope you've seen the ad, isn't it? All right. So to help somebody understand the importance of celebrating the International Child, what are we celebrating?
Thank you, Elijah, again for having me. And allow me to start by saying I'm happy that you, just before this, had a family.
Yes.
Because that's the basis actually of actually
child,
talking about children. And allow me to also celebrate in a special way, though she has left as my mom. And this is a month now since she lasted.
Yes.
And allow me to just pay tribute to her, because again, this is the second show after that.
Yes.
Having said that, I want to say that today, actually, we are celebrating two things. It's actually marking the Universal Children's Day, which is a United Nations calendar holiday. Not necessarily like people are not working, but it's the Universal Children's Day. And secondly, we are marking 30 years since the adoption of the Convention of the Rights of the Child. So maybe to answer your question, I should say what the Convention of the Rights of the Child is, which is basically a human rights treaty that sets out or stipulates the civil, political, health, economic, and social rights of the child. This day was actually this convention happened 30 years ago.
Yes.
and the adoption was made on 20th November 1989.
Yes.
That is specifically why we are talking about CLC 30, or 30 years since the adoption of the Convention
Yes.
of the Right of the Child.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is that we are celebrating
Exactly.
today,
Exactly.
isn't it?
Exactly.
So now somebody would ask you, therefore, do you think that really, since we adopted the Convention on the Rights of the Child, that we've started to see a change in the way in which the children's lives across the world, and I want to speak specifically to Kenya, are viewed?
Yes, in a big way.
Yes.
And I'll mention that if you look at the convention, which has in total 54 articles, most of these articles actually govern and guide even the government in terms of local registration.
Yes.
Recently, you heard Matiang'i talk about banning, actually when he was the Cabinet Secretary for Education, banning of orientations. That's one of the achievements of the government in Kenya, basing the decision from the Convention of the Right of the Child.
Yes.
Because Article 31 gives every child internationally and now in Kenya the right to relax and play.
Isn't it? It's very interesting. Is that people really didn't know where Matiang'i was coming from when he was actually making this announcement. It's like, what is this man talking about?
Exactly.
It's been like that for some time now. So you can actually see that the benefits are getting to be seen within the economy, isn't
Yes,
it?
yes,
I
yes.
know
And
there's
actually,
yes.
and actually it will even get better as we move on. But today I would want actually to look at a different angle.
Yes.
Because in terms of registration, in terms of what the convention gives every ordinary child,
Yes.
every ordinary Kenyan child, regardless of where they come from, regardless of status, regardless of religion, or all these factors. I want now to focus, because all these rights are there.
Yes.
But what we need to look at today is, what are we doing? What is the role of every Kenyan who is not a child in ensuring that these children enjoy these rights? Because unfortunately, you've seen most recently, like the case of the Peter Mogore family
Yes. Yes.
in Nanyuki. You should have expected that this is the person who, at the very least, should have been protecting these kids and actually observing and giving them their right to life.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it's the reverse. So as a country, I want to appreciate the government in terms of registration. We have very good policies, we have very good laws. Internationally, we have UNICEF, who is actually the mandated body under the UN General Assembly to actually drive the agenda.
Yes.
And actually make sure that governments fully adopt and actually practice and use the Convention on the Rights of the Child
Yes.
well.
Yes.
So today I want to say, yes, we are in the right track, but even as we are appreciating the milestones reached in terms of registration, can we for a moment think as adults, because by the convention, or rather by definition, the convention defines a child as any human being who is under 18 years.
Yes.
Or who have not attained the age of majority under the national registration. In Kenya, that is basically 18 years.
18
So
years.
anyone below 18 years is a child.
Yes.
But how are we treating them? Are we good role models? What are we doing as a people? I think that's the angle I would have wanted us to look at today, because I think that's where we are failing.
Yes.
Because children, in terms of how God made the world and created each one of us, we actually have enough room and an opportunity to learn and unlearn things. So if you are molded well, if from the very beginning, from the family level, from the society level, at the school level, in the church and places of worship, if we are able to set good role models for these children and help them understand who they are, understand their rights, understand what the future holds for them, I can tell you Elijah will have a much brighter future. But if we continue suppressing their rights, right from the family level,
Yes.
then you can tell we have a problem somewhere.
Yes.
Because I would say again, in Kenya, it's not like we have lack of laws or policies to guide the freedom and the rights of the child. No, we have enough of this. But there is a bigger problem, either in terms of how the current generation have raised their children, I don't know, but we have a problem. It can be that we have, or we are facing hard economic times. I don't think really that's the issue.
Yes.
I think we have reduced the value of life to a level that people can kill their own children.
And that's exactly what we should be talking about this morning, isn't it?
Yes.
I know this morning you saw we hosted Angel and the mom
Yes.
here this morning, and Alice as well.
Yes.
And she's saying that for her, the way she's looking at it, I mean, she cannot talk about rights because she fully understands
Yes.
what every kid should get, what I need to give them, I know it.
Yes.
I do understand what their rights are. But beyond that, therefore, their rights are only going to mean something if I bring them up in an environment of love.
Yes.
So this morning I want to ask you, therefore, when you look at the way in which parenting, especially in Kenya, is now, would you say that we are lacking in that area? And I want you to talk to me from the perspective of some of the cases in which we've seen around us. We've seen, and I want to throw you back to a video that was trending just the other day when kids were bullying each other really on social media and pushing it out like that. Did you ask, are the parents aware of this? Is this the kind of environment that we need to bring our kids in? The kids are going to learn their rights because it starts from there, and then when they become adults, they pretty much don't know that what they've been doing is wrong because rights begin from that basic level.
Very true.
Yes.
And allow me to mention that it is very true that parenting is very critical, because when you're looking at, or when you're talking about these rights,
Yes.
it looks like it's a big thing, but demystifying it, it's really very basic. Because what it means is that the child has been born. And even before the child is born,
Yes.
allow me to mention that the convention stipulates that the child has a right to be born, raised, and brought up in a very conducive environment.
Yes.
And actually, the people who came up with the convention looked at it from a point of a family perspective or a cultural grouping.
Yes.
Maybe for those who are unfortunate, maybe not to have their parents, and they are quite a number. So what I want to mention is that therefore, when you're looking at the family level, parents are very critical. And that brings in the issue of how well you expose your children.
Yes.
I'm not saying that exposing your children is bad, it's actually very critical. Let them know how the world looks like. Let them know what happens in any other setups, not necessarily just your own environment.
Yes.
Don't lock your children in just the perimeter of your walls. Let them actually even interact with other children, of course, under guidance. And most importantly, and I like what Alice mentioned,
Yes.
let the children know from the very beginning that they are loved. And beyond being loved, that they are valued. And beyond being valued, that they are human beings,
Yes.
like anybody else, even like adults with emotions. And therefore, they will understand the emotion of love and care. And as they are growing up, they will live with this.
Yes.
And therefore, whenever they are interacting even with other children, they will know that it is wrong to do A, B, C, D because it will hurt this other person. It is good to treat this person right, including their peers, because that is what I've learned from the family level. So what I'm saying is that there is need for more of parental guidance and parental involvement in the children's life. Because unfortunately, Elijah, the current or the parent of this generation is so much concerned with money and work and job, to some extent that at times maybe their parents are not seeing their children even for a month.
Yes.
And even if they are meeting, it's interacting with a goodbye morning kiss or a good night evening kiss. They don't really have any personal attachment with these children. And that's how even the Western case maybe happened. I don't know, maybe the setup these kids were brought up.
Yes.
But like you've mentioned, if these kids knew from the very beginning that it would be detrimental to hurt the other person's feeling, it would be bad to bully them, and especially on online, then at the very least, I think they will not have used YouTube, or rather social media. I think it was trending everywhere.
Yeah, it was trending everywhere.
As a way of actually making amends.
Yes.
Yeah. They would have known that if really this girl, I think it was a boy addressing it to a girl.
Yes.
This boy would have, at the very least,
Yes.
gone to the girl and told her, based on maybe how he was brought up, that girl, the way I've been told by mama or daddy, I'm sad that you had me.
Yes.
You said this and this, but I would want maybe to forgive you because I don't want to revenge.
Pretty much, because
Yes. Already I'm hurt. I also don't want to revenge and in essence hurt you as much. So what I'm saying is that upbringing, the parenting bit in terms of how we are raising your children is a challenge. Remember also this boy had his own phone that he could record whatever he was saying.
there was a phone there.
So in terms of parenting, as much as you're talking about exposure,
Yes.
it is not exposure to the extent of, in my opinion, that you should allow your children everything. I don't think so. Remember, the context actually was beyond the level of actually a minor.
Yes.
We were talking about sexual issues, because that actually the context the boy was addressing the girl at. So what I'm saying is, in as much as we are talking about exposure, it's exposure to the right
To
things.
the right things, isn't it? And in the right way.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I know there's an event that you're putting together, therefore, and it's happening today, isn't it?
Yes.
All right. What we expect to see, what issues are going to get addressed, and what sort of outcomes do we expect after the event?
What I need to mention, Elijah,
Yes.
is that we've worked with children.
Yes.
Actually, we started working with children when I was in second year in campus, and even before in the church.
Yes.
But now I'm talking about second year because that's when we started some mentorship programs with children. I'm calling them children because they are under 18
years of age. Yes.
And these are people who are in high school, from Form 1 to Form 4.
Yes.
And in primary school, from class 4 up to class 8. And we've dealt with quite a number of them. And it was a very good program because we used to involve university students who are doing different courses. Remember, every child, when they are coming up, aspire to be engineers, aspires to be journalists, aspire to be doctors. So we could bring all these university students pursuing these courses. And actually, there were select university students, not everyone, because we used to work largely with the Christian unions. And therefore, what we used to do is give them a platform where they could be mentored and actually be advised in terms of what they need to do to get where they want. So we've dealt with children a lot. And that's why I said when we were starting that the issue today is not actually about the children.
Yes.
Because more or less, in terms of what the future holds for them, is dependent on what we give them.
Yes.
So after that, we realized, therefore, that we need to do more. And it's involving corporates, involving organizations to be more innovative in terms of their product offerings to make sure that these are good and the best possible for the kids. And through that, we developed an awards initiative, what we call the Kids World Excellence Awards.
Yes.
And actually the theme for the awards initiative is excellent products with excellent service.
Yes.
Or delivered through excellent service. So this is appreciating every organization that is producing or offering products and services that to the child they are excellent and improves their lives. We are talking about nutritional issues, we are talking about services, and we have quite a number of organizations that are dealing with children. So we appreciate all these organizations because at the very end, they are working towards the improvement of the quality of lives of the children.
Yes.
And we need more organizations to do this. And this, in essence, will encourage creativity, will encourage more innovation, will encourage more interaction, and will encourage many other organizations to actually focus on the consumer.
Yes.
Who is the child?
Who's the child?
Yes.
Pretty much, isn't it? All right. Just before we conclude
Yes.
this conversation this morning, because I know we've been talking about your event on Metropole TV, we've got a lot of confirmations and also questions around it, which we will try to address in the best way possible. Therefore, when somebody tells you,
Yes.
how should I celebrate today? It's like everybody's talking about World International Children's Day, but how should I properly celebrate it?
Awesome. That's a very good question, Elijah.
Yes.
And allow me to mention that everyone should be able to celebrate the Universal Children's Day.
Yes.
And the special way to do this is to ensure that Maina, that Maina in your family,
Yes.
that Maina in your neighborhood, at least let them know that their rights are there and documented. And let them know
Yes.
that beyond having their rights documented, that they are loved. And let them know that you can be a role model for them. Offer yourself to them.
Okay.
And beyond that, whenever you see or when you meet a minor today, be it in any place, most importantly, encourage them and tell them that our future is dependent on them.
Yes.
Because remember, Elijah, you're not here forever. We'll grow old,
Yes.
and these are the generations who will be where we are today. So what you need to tell them is that they need, most importantly, to really focus on the important things in life, which among others are to love and be loved, and to care, most importantly, for their peers and
Yes.
their fellow children. And to the corporates, I want to tell them, because largely the event we have today is a corporate event. And
Yes.
it's very interesting that we'll be having a young girl, actually 9-year-old, presenting. She's a poet, doing very good, and she'll be making a presentation at the awards gala dinner.
Yes.
So this girl, what I want to say is, now to all these children, there are platforms for them. And to the corporates, like I was saying, you can do much more. You can reach out to the population.
Yes.
You can reach out to the consumers of your products. And beyond that, most importantly, you have a huge contribution. So before we close, Elijah, allow me to mention, now that we have this opportunity,
Yes.
that the Kids World Excellence Awards is bringing together the corporate leaders who are offering products that are good for families, that are good for mothers, that are good for children, and we'll have several categories. And I know after this, and even as you've been doing the advertisements,
Yes.
I'm sure we'll be doing something for all the winners today. And the event will be at Safari Park Hotel. And I want to thank them again for being the hosts to our several initiatives and events.
Yes.
And it's starting at 5 p.m. And it's not late. Anyone who may be in this industry, who may want to join us,
Want to join us?
you're welcome.
You have the contacts,
Yes.
and you can actually talk to you directly,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes.
And then after that, the part and parcel of it. Gems.
Yes.
It couldn't be better. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you,
today.
Elijah, for having
All right, now you do know the event is actually happening tonight from 5 p.m. at Safari Park Hotel. You want to be part and parcel of it? Talk to us right now at Metropole TV. We actually are running that ad on our social media platforms. If you actually look for Daima Trust, you get it. And then you'll know the details. You can actually get to call him directly. His number is there. Then after that, get to be part and parcel of celebrating the international child. And when I'm talking about the international child, it is a child next to you.